Am I live? I think I'm live. I never really know. Maybe I could figure it out somehow one day. I think I'm live. Yeah, it's there. There's no way escaping it. I'm just stuck here in YouTube talking about Saltcorn for the next hour or so, whatever it is. I hope I'm all on the right. Yeah, I think everything's good. I think we're ready to start. It's all looking good. Okay, so do let me know if there's an issue. Hey everyone, got a lot of people showing up. I guess I haven't done Office Hours for quite some time, for a month now, because I was away on holiday, and partly I was away on holiday, and partly I've been working on a big app that we're building that I can't, it's just an app that we're building. And it's taking a lot of time, but that's okay. It's good, and it's really pushing development forward. So I was away for about 2 weeks, even a bit more than 2 weeks, and in that time though, other people were working. So I'll talk about some of the things they did, and I'll talk about some of the things I've been doing. There's some stuff that's very recent that I may just be able to show you a little glimpse of it, how it works, that I'm super excited about, because I kind of have to change the project, focus around it a little bit to be more about reliability and making sure things work for people instead of just adding more features. I think what happened in the last couple of months is that we're really reaching a level where I'm comfortable with the major features that we have, and now it's, I think I said this last time, now it's really got to be more about making things consistent, reliable, and easy to use, intuitive, and all that. I think we've really got a set of features that really is what I imagined even over the last year. So I think what we've got now is what I'd imagined, and I think now we have to leave it a little bit as well to the community and to the people who are paying, who are paying for support, paying for new features, and listen to what they want and not just what I had imagined. Would be useful to people and what's useful on the couple of apps that I work on. So I'm gonna show you some stuff that we've done that really ties the room together, as they said in The Big Lebowski. That really puts sort of brings a certain completion, and this is what we said we wanted in 1.4. I think we said we wanted real-time collaboration, and I think I underestimated how once we had those basic features in, how much that could change how a lot of the apps are delivered. So I'll show you some of that. And yeah, so should we get started? Maybe I'll start on some of the simpler stuff I've been working on, and then I'll get to the big stuff in a second. Okay, so right, what have we been doing? What should we talk about? Let's start nice and easy and talk about lists. So am I running locally? Oh, I'm not logged in. I know I'm not logged in. It's because of some stuff I'm going to show you later. Oh, and also I'm on the other browser. All right, not so exciting. Okay, so, I haven't even seen what this looks like on Firefox. It's okay, actually. Okay, so new line here. Lists. This is a standard list. Oh, a couple of other things that I think also wasn't there last time. If you noticed, last time, if you look back an hour, a month now ago, probably this text line was aligned with the top of the inner of this box. So basically, because the buttons are taller than the text. And what that meant was that I hadn't really thought so much about it, and I've just been putting up with this, and I think many of you have also just been putting up with it, and people aren't complaining enough. You guys should really complain more. But it sort of occurred to me that it was actually quite ugly that the text was... Okay, I'll show you what it looked like before, because now there's a setting for it. I don't think this was here last time. Okay, layout options, vertical alignment, top. I'm just starting with the really small stuff, but I think it makes a difference, right? So look how this text is aligned with the top of the buttons. Maybe this was here last week. I can't remember. Anyways, now you got the middle. Now you see how the middle of the text is aligned with the buttons, and that's the way I think it should be, and that is the default now. So now you have this setting here under, and there's more settings that I'll talk about in a second, but under the list layout settings, you have this vertical alignment, and you can now set it to, by default, it's gone to the middle, so it does change the default look. And if you want to put that back, just put it to top. But I think you should leave it on middle. I think that looks much better. Here, so the, oops. There, middle. I think this looks much better, right? So the text is in the middle of the buttons. I think that's standard. If you disagree, just let me know. Okay, so, but the other thing that we have is we have this new row here. And that's very recent. I did that last week, I think. So we call this the header filters, and there is a little bit of an issue here with this. This is a date field, and there's a little bit of an issue with this border here being a different color than the rest. So I'll try and fix that. You can actually fix it yourselves in the CSS if you can figure that out. Otherwise, I'll have to figure out how to do it and do it for everyone. So if you do figure out how to make this button the same color as the input, just send me the CSS code, and then I will save some time. But in the meantime, if you ignore this little rounding being different, then I think it looks okay. So what this is a header filter. And now if you have, like, imagine you have a lot of rows, right? So now I can just do like Leo. There you go. And now this is so this is how the tabulator. Before, if you wanted this, you had to use the tabulator. You had to the tabulator. It's interesting. There's still a lot of stuff you can do with the tabulator and not in list views, but it is, the main difference is actually that it's a lot slower in certain circumstances. It's slower. List is very fast, especially if you have a lot of data that you're not showing. That's all goes to the tabulator, and I'm not really sure how to fix that. So now we're slowly trying to bring some of the features from tabulator and into the list, and so this is one of them, header filter. So you turn this on, header filters. You have this button here in the list settings on the last page, header filters. If I turn it off, you get no header filters. We have a couple of tweaks here. There's going to be a little collapse button, so you can make it disappear, and there was something else that someone asked for. The other thing we have now is that this can collapse. So yeah, I've set this up. So before there was no collapse. So I guess if I set this to 100, then effectively I'm turning it off. Oh no, wait. To turn it off, let's go back to 800. Actually, to turn it off, you have to press the button, and this is the default. So you don't get. So if you want what I'm going to show you now, the responsive collapse, you have to go in to the layout options in the list options, last page, and you have to click this box. So for the moment, let's get it back to what it looks like probably if you haven't done any of this. So let's turn off the header filters as well, right? So this is our good old list, and if you're on mobile or something like that, it looks like this. So that's maybe okay, depending on how you feel. Those buttons have disappeared, and it actually works okay here because I have some very narrow fields, but sometimes you have much more data in those, and it doesn't always look that great on mobile. So you do get this to scroll, right? So you can do that. It's okay, but you have another option now, and that is to enable the responsive collapse, and then you set the breakpoint, the device width at which it should collapse. And look at this. Now what happens? So now, below that width, if your device is narrower than this 800, it collapses into a bunch of cards. Oh wait, I had this. Let's get rid of this header filter, so we can see all this, and then it looks more like, so here we go. So now this is one box here for each row, right? So each row is now below a certain breakpoint is now arranged vertically. Maybe that's what you want, maybe it's not what you want. This just gives you something where on the mobile display, without scrolling horizontally, you can see all the data because it collapses like that. So maybe you want that, maybe you don't want it. It was a feature again of Tabulator that we've ported over. Okay, so that's two big new features on lists. Let's see, what else can I talk about? Oh yeah, I've got several things here. I just want to show you a new theme. This is Gerard has been working on this. I think it's quite nice. Well, it's not a new theme, but it's an update to an old theme that effectively was the least well maintained theme amongst all the ones we had, it effectively didn't work. It was called Material Design. It's based on this project called MD Bootstrap. It was kind of like a big, serious open source project. So it's not, so Material Design is, for those of you who don't know, is Google's design system. So it's how Google thinks about the design, and so everything here will look like Google apps, Google products. That's just called Material Design, I guess, and you can download that. That's not what this, because Saltcorn is based on Bootstrap. It's based on Bootstrap 5. And so this is an open source project, just not from Google, at least I think it's not from Google. But it is sort of the porting of the material design language to Bootstrap. So it kind of gives you a Bootstrap theme that acts like a Google product. And so this is what it looks like. So there are a couple of options. Oh, this is because it's a local. You won't see this, but oops. So there are a couple of options. So you have dark mode. Where's the dark mode? So that looks like what we saw before. Yeah. You have oh yeah, you have a layout style vertical. That's quite nice. So it's actually quite a nice implementation. I think this you have your user here, and then you have your sort of menu scrolls in here. I think it's different from what all the other themes have done. It's quite interesting seeing how all these themes sort of do it. There may be some options to turn this off that we haven't exposed here, but I think it's actually okay. I think it's quite interesting to have this. This is just a different design that you got your user here, and then the menu here scrolls inside, and of course if you don't have that open, then you won't see that. So that, and there's really nice animations here, right? So when I open this, you can even see it on the video. Yeah, it needs a Jeff. Thanks. I think it does look good. Right? It's sort of like smoothly. I could just sit here all day. Like especially if you do it, like if you look at this one on the horizontal. Now I have so many menu items here that you can't really see it, but this just opens up. Like this blurs very nicely. I want to do more of these animations. I know a lot of people have asked quite vocally about having more animations and better sort of transitions. The view transitions is, I haven't actually really replied to those comments, but I do think it's really interesting, and definitely something that we are going to support at some point. Maybe not for the next. Maybe I'll talk a little bit more about where we are in the release cycle. Maybe it will be in the next one, but it's not so hard to add it yourself as well. Anyways, so new theme. Actually, it looks good, and for users, it's actually good. Unfortunately, there are a couple of issues One is that the menu editor doesn't work. That's just a simple library that needs to be included, but that was that we need to add. And so don't use it for the admin, but for your users, you can use it. And also, if you don't want to change the menus, that's really the only thing that doesn't work. Otherwise, there's like a couple of small issues that we're fixing. But apart from that, it's actually pretty good. And it's just, you can start playing with it, and the minor stuff should be fixed very soon. Okay, let's go back to this though, so I can change my well, actually, since I'm not going to fiddle with the... Oops, what am I doing? Since I'm not going to change this, why don't we leave this on the on this theme? So which one do I want? I think I want the top side. Okay, don't really want it black. I'm not really sure I'm ready to commit to black. Feels like a bit of a step. Dark, sorry, not black. Dark mode. I'm not really sure it's... No, maybe let's leave it. Let's see what happens. That way I get to see some things that don't work as well, and I get to share it all with you. Okay, enough about material design. What else have we got? Couple of things. We've got some new capabilities. So we've had these provided tables for a while. And so, for instance, they've mainly been read-only, but now these tables, so these are tables that don't really correspond, at least directly, to database tables. They're supplied by a module. They may be supplied in different ways. And so here you've got, we've had this for a long time. So this is a table that shows the history for another table, but now you can, those provided tables, this is one thing that we need, okay, I am actually going to switch the theme because I won't get the same width. In fact, I'm struggling a bit here. Okay, so we do need to do a little bit more work on that, I think. Okay, so let's go back. Where were we? Okay, so was it not? I thought it was this one that I made. I thought it was this one that I made that I made writable, but maybe it was a different one. Yeah, that is the local one. I thought it was the one I made writable, but maybe it was a different one. Anyways, there's a new provided table, and that's also writable, so I can show you in that one. Okay, so there's a new provided table, table provider, and it is for remote tables. So now if you have a table in a different database, you can have a PostgreSQL remote table provider. That's really cool, actually, because if you have like a lot of systems, then Saltcorn can now edit tables on databases that you don't have, that Saltcorn isn't in Saltcorn's own schema. And so, if you're not quite sure about, which I'm sympathetic to, if you're not sure about letting Saltcorn add all of its stuff to to the schema that you're interested in editing, then you can now use a PostgreSQL provided table. And this is writable. So this one I can write, I can now write. So this has now been written to a remote table on a different database. I'll have more to say about this because it's still in development, but it sort of works, sort of. But you set here the, the database URL, the user, the schema, the database, and all that. And then you set the fields. These are the fields you want to import. May or may not make that more automated. But that is now a remote table we can control, and you can build lists, you can build views on it, you can build edit views, so you can edit the data. It's pretty cool. So that was kind of not just making this table provider, but also making tables that are provided externally, allowing them to express that they are writable and how to, delete, edit, insert data on them. So that was something that I worked on in the beginning of August. Okay, let's see. Done a little bit more work on agents. And should we see some agents? But that's again, let's see here. Agent. Okay, so these agents are now, so this is again stuff that's right now I'm doing a lot of work on it. Did some work in the middle of the week, and we're going to do some more. We have some more stuff that needs doing on these agents. Let me show you some of the things. So if I have a session, I still have it set up to speak like a pirate, and in fact I have now added many different ways to make it say that it should speak like a pirate. Okay, so basic. Oh, this is because, because I've changed this agent to now be about, okay, so the agent is a couple of things that you saw here. The agent is now sort of can talk about a row. So this is all optional, and this is something that I have enabled here. So the agent can now know that it's run from that row, right? So if I'm, you can now launch an agent with, first of all, with a question. So here the question I've said is how many pages are in the book. And also, but it has in its context, in its system prompt, it has that it knows that it's talking about a row in a database, and you can set that so it's you can control that, right? So you may not have a row that you're talking about. In that case, you just need to configure the agent differently. So I'll show you in a bit how that's configured. So, but actually what I really wanted to show you was this first thing that I did was this debug button. So now if you want to see what's going on underneath the hood, so to speak, you can see, what is the system prompt. You can see the interactions. This is the API interaction. So this is, this is an array, and then there's a request, and you can see the response. So you can see the raw interaction with the API. So that's quite useful. So because we have now many different ways of setting what the system prompt is and adding to the system prompt, which I'll show you in a second. So you can you can now sort of debug the system prompt here. Okay, so let's see what some of the new options are. Okay, let's have that open. So first of all, you can make this collapsible. Oh, it's already collapsible, so this now you can make it go away. It's kind of nice. What else did we have? This is not new, but if I go to the agent, then there's a bunch of new options here. So you can get data from an SQL query into the prompt, into the system prompt. So here we're loading a row, and then we are sort of formatting it with here, the format. So that's if you want to run an arbitrary SQL query, that can be good for totally flexible data. The other thing you can do is you can load data into the system prompt with code now. And this is like if you want to load stuff again from a database, but you want to do it more in a Saltcorn way because you want to not just have an SQL query, but you want to manipulate it maybe in JavaScript. Here now you can do like, you do your whole table equal table dot find one. So those of you who have written code will know this, right? So blah blah blah. Oops. So you can get data into the system prompt by writing code. And you can also just write, 2 + 2. And you can just return a string here. So if you don't want any of this, is a little bit complicated, but you can just say hello, or you can say, speak like a pirate, or whatever you want here, right? So this goes into the system prompt. Other stuff that we have here, yeah, I don't think there's nothing. There's some minor improvements, but more sort of efficiency and trying to control the prompt, that the context length and stuff like that. Anyways, okay, so there's been work on agents, and that is all that I wanted to show you, except for the really big thing. And that big thing is a little bit hard to show, but I will try. Okay, so this is really the foundation of real-time collaboration, that we started thinking about it in terms of views, and each view would be able to update itself. But now we have added a new sort of primitive facility, so to speak. And where do I have this? Let me see if I can find it somewhere. So it's called emit to client, and for the moment it's only available in, here we go. Okay, so let's look at this. For the moment it's only really available in code, but I am thinking about, well, partly that, and I'll show you, I'll just mention another way that it can be used. So the way it works is, let's say you have like a script, right? And we're going to do this in workflows, and we're going to do it in many other ways. Let's say you're doing a lot of stuff here, right? So you've got a script and you're doing a lot of stuff, and it's quite slow. So right, it happens. So sometimes we have scripts that take like 30 seconds or something like that. So now in the middle of the script, you can send information to the user. So let me just see what, I'll run this. Maybe this has to be run from somewhere. Because I don't have the page load tag. Okay, if I just temporarily omit that. Yeah, I remember now. This is like, you have to do user. Is that right? No, it's not right. I can't remember what you do now. It's a bit unfortunate. Okay, so let me, maybe I can just quickly look it up. Let's see. No, I guess I can't remember what you do now. I don't think you type user here. I think it's, okay, let's try this testament client. Let's see if this is linked anywhere. Let's try this. Is this linked somewhere? No. Okay, let's try and put it on a page. My pages, because I liberated the menus, now I put the pages under here. And let's just look at one page, and let's put our action. Testament client. Okay, so now what happens if I click this? Yeah, okay. So that did actually work. That's good. But you see now, interesting. So it goes on all the pages, right? Okay, so what's going on? Let's just close at least some of them. These all now have these. So what's going on is that when you run this command, which is currently only available in code, we'll do it somewhere else. When you run this, then it emits that message to every connected client of that user. For some reason it didn't do it when I did test run, but it works if you do it from, what the user would see. Right now, and it comes up on this one as well, so it comes up on all the pages. So what means is that I can now send real-time notifications to the screen that the user, so it only goes to that user. There is a way you can also make it go to every user or a subset of users, but then you have to type something else here. Now I can't quite remember. I think it's like here you say what the user ID is. Yeah, so you could do like the users here, but let's just keep it simple here, right? So it is quite cool though that you can send messages to other users. Anyways, as I run this, even if there's like long running stuff before and after, this makes that pop up on my page. Now, if I only wanted to pop up, see here, now it comes here, but it also comes here. So it comes on every page that user is logged in as. If I don't want that, I can do what we had before, page load tag. And now, so that page load tag is now something it's a variable that's in scope. We could, print it out. It's the random number that is associated every time a page loads, then it has that. So that means that every tab will have a unique one. And now, right, remember before it comes here, but it doesn't come here, right? So before it came on both of them, if I didn't have that. So I can now target it to a specific page as well. So this means that we can do stuff when, like in real time, as a long action is running. We could do it from inside a workflow. And so I need to do the workflow actions to do this. And it's quite nice because it's decoupled from the browser's sort of request load cycle. Which often has timeouts, so you could run this. If you run something in the background, you can still emit it to the client. You can send it to every page that the client sees. So that's kind of cool. And you can, you can just send messages to the user. You're also not just restricted to make stuff pop up in these toasts. You can do like, all right, should we do something? Eval JS, I think this works. Alert, let's try this. So you can basically run arbitrary JavaScript on any page. Yeah, so that comes up. But you could do, more useful things like reload embedded view, like reload a specific view, right? So now we can we have an application where this is working, and somebody's using it to they're doing some processing in the background and it's taking a long time, and but they want the view to refresh when it's ready, and so then he's just emitting this as a reload. I should really make this one of the primitive actions. And so here you just do your view name. So that's kind of cool. So look, this is quickly, became apparent that this could be used, this facility to send real-time messages to any screen that the user is logged in, could actually be used to for quite a lot of stuff. And so the first thing I did this, so actually I should say Christian Hugo did a lot of this work. He laid the entire foundation, and he's been working with users. Some users have been trying it and then reporting some errors, and this just turns out in different environments it works a little bit different. And so he's been working a lot on debugging that. I think it's a little bit more stable now. And so, so I was looking at how can I, use this as a foundation for a more interactive environment. So the one thing that I noticed was that this notification system that we have, where the notifications show up. They're not. See, now I've liberated the menu. I don't see it here, but now these notifications also turn up sort of in real time. So this is more like if you want to send a notification to a user and maybe because they've received a message or something important has happened. So that now pops up again in real time, and we're using, whenever this channel is open for sending messages, I should say you can turn this off. Then we're transmitting the notifications over that channel. Oh yes, and now here we see, yes, I don't have the notification link yet, but this, we've now liberated the menus, so that's you need to put that in if you're going to use the notifications. But that is now something that's live, so that's quite nice. And we didn't have that before. We could send emails, we could, the notifications would show up whenever you reloaded the page, but now they just pop up live. And I think we're going to use this for more, just more communications and more sort of dynamic updates of the applications. Now, I see some questions have come in. So am I done with showing my stuff? I am done. Oh, no, there was one thing I wanted to. Let me just read these questions, and then I'll see if I want to go back to the other one. How would I write a view to download as a PDF that takes the current row selected in a table and then is basically a letter that is personalized to variables in text throughout? Okay, we can do that. That's an interesting idea. I think we can do it. More questions. Hot Rock. I'm having a problem on 1.3.1 putting a page as a sub-menu item. The menu page shows the sub-page as nested, but it doesn't appear in the menu. Okay, let me see. Kind of like yeah, kind of. That was what you're asking. This could be so cool and dangerous. Yeah, there's a lot of especially changing history. Okay, how do I can issue and just up, and it seemed to work now. Perhaps it was fixed when the liberated stuff was added. Okay, yeah, but okay. So we've got two main questions here. Putting a page in a submenu item. Okay, I'm just going to show you how to do that, so that should be quick, but I'm not really sure. Okay, so let's just put let's see if this works. Oh, menu editor. Okay, so let's delete some of these. That's taking up a lot of space. Okay, so let's also delete this because then we can create a new one. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to put, I think the question is just how do you put a page in a submenu. Yeah, so let's just see that happen. So I'll do that from scratch. I know that this menu editor can be a little bit difficult to use, so let's, oh, maybe I'll turn off my, there we go. Is that right? How's that showing? I guess that's okay. Right, so I'm just going to create a sub menu with a page in it. So first you create a header. My submenu. And remember to set the get back to Mike's comments. Interesting. Remember to set the minimum role. So if you want everyone to see it, you do public. And maximum role, usually you just want to leave it at admin. Okay. Okay, so you want to, first of all, you want to drag this around somewhere, right? Now we've got, if I reload, so you always want to reload. And now I've just got a label here called my submenu, but it doesn't do anything. Okay, so now I want to create a new page link. Let's just do the one we want before. My page link. And you want to add it, and it will show up down here. Now what you need to do is, this can be difficult and fiddly, but you just gotta drag this inside your header. So, oh, that wasn't so fiddly. What's usually fiddly is hitting the same one, right? So if you want to put this, yeah, so usually what happens is, when you want to put the second one in, it usually wants to put it as the submenu to the submenu, but you gotta like just persist a little bit and move it around. Anyways, now we've got my submenu, my page link. That was the page that we had. And you don't need to, when you're rearranging this, it saves automatically. It's only when you change stuff here, you have to press update. But now, submenu has my page link. So I hope that works. If that didn't really address the question, then just ask again. That was Hot Rock. But I'm not sure you require updating. I don't think anything broke here. So maybe Hot Rock, if you can just let us know if that fixes it for you. Or if I need to do something else. Okay, so download a PDF. Okay, so Aztec2 is asking... Oh, let me just address Mike's comment, because it's going to take some time to do the PDF, but it's an interesting exercise. So Mike is saying he got it working on a Raspberry 4 Pi. Indeed, I have. I need to tweet about all this stuff. I also have it running on a Raspberry Pi. Okay, so what I have two cases of using Saltcorn with Raspberry Pis. One is that I have a little recorder that's sitting in our house and recording the temperature and the humidity every day. In fact, every 5 minutes, and making a time series. And it runs, that genuinely runs Saltcorn, and it just saves stuff. And it actually, the Raspberry Pis are very impressive. So that and it should work. It should work. You know, Mike, maybe let us know if you had to do anything special, but I think it usually should just work. You just go, because they're Debian based, and you just go and do the install node and then do npx saltcorn install. It should work. If it doesn't, we should write a wiki page about it if you need to do anything special. And yeah, as you say, it's actually got very good, impressive performance. So that's great. The other use case that I have for Saltcorn and Raspberry Pis is actually not running Saltcorn directly on the device, but it's running a web browser. So it's for a kiosk application. And so this is a community center that has 3 screens that sort of rotate between announcements related to that community center, and they run some advertising as well. So if you're an estate agent, you can get your slide up there advertising, and that brings them a little bit of income. And that is a Saltcorn application that's running on a server somewhere. And that has, the view pages. So that has a page that corresponds to, first of all, there's an admin page where the staff can change the slides and the messages that they want, and they can set how long do they want each slide to run for. And then on the device, it doesn't run Saltcorn on those devices. It just runs Chrome as a browser. We actually wrote a wiki page about this. Oops. So somewhere there's a digital signage. And so this, I made some okay notes here. So this is using a Raspberry Pi, but that's just running on Chrome. Right, Saltcorn's not running on the device. And this is all about how do you get it so it starts up and goes to that specific page. And then, so on the underlying application, this is all about configuring the Raspberry Pis, which is all the many times that it broke and I had to go and fix it. And then these are the things you had to make it break less often. And now it's running pretty smoothly. It's chill. It's just sitting there and serving slides. On the server, you basically just use the carousel to make each slide. So you just have a table for the slides, and then you just control the state for which slides you're showing. So they have 3 different pages. There's 3 different locations of their screens, and they've got some dynamic JavaScript because they've got something about a session that changes. And so there's one slide that says okay, session changes in 5 minutes or something like that. But that's just running. That's just normal Saltcorn, right? That application. Okay, so Raspberry Pis are cool. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so let me just stay on the. Oh, somebody also has it running on an Oracle Always Free VM running ARM. Interesting. I didn't know Oracle did Always Free VMs, but that's cool. Interesting. It's always been my business, my life ambition to destroy Oracle, but sorry, that may take you a always free VM, but I think your VM is probably safe because Oracle is going to stick around for some time. But okay, so let's just stay on the where are we? Let's stay on the menu question because a clarification came up on that. Where were we? I seem to have navigated away from that menu editor. Okay, so question is, can the top level that is used as a header be a page as well, or must it be a header? Yeah, I think I think not. I think actually it doesn't work, but let's try it. So what happens here if I make this a page? I think the problem is simply that yeah, so you can set it to, wait, did I update it? I guess I updated it, right? Okay, maybe it didn't. Let's try again. Okay, that's saved. That's now a page. Let's see what it looks like. No, it doesn't display it as a page. So this is a page now. It shows us as a page, but it has subpages. The problem is that yes, you could in theory have, it's maybe doable that this is a link and then this opens, but that's not how these are. I mean that's an interesting case, but no, yeah, that's just not supported right now. So for the moment, that if something has a sub items, that link has got to just open that sub menu. You can't have both a link out so that this bit is a link out and this bit opens. I can see you would want that, and so I see menus sometimes that do that. Sorry, that's just not something we've done. If people feel strongly that that ought to be a possibility, just let me know. Oh yeah, I did see there was a question from on thanks Greg. I did see there was a question. Let me get back to this page to this PDF question, and then I'll address some of these other comments, partly because I think the answer to that question is no, you can't, which is always a difficult thing to tell people. Okay, so let's do this. Let's first of all see. So anything you want to do with PDFs, you gotta have the PDF module installed. PDF module is installed. By the way, I am hearing some complaints that this doesn't always work. So let's see if it works for us now. That it can be Fitly. So okay. If I have time, I'm gonna show you what to do as an alternative. It's just this page to PDF under the hood. It uses Puppeteer, I think, and it's just not always that reliable. It just sometimes fails. And maybe I don't know what. For me, it mostly works, but I don't know if it requires a lot of capacity, a lot of memory. I don't know. But let's try and do something with it. Okay, so you want basically something where people can enter some data and then it gets filled into a template. Okay, and that is doable. Let's just do birthday cards. I really should put that create table at the top, or maybe floating or something like that. Okay, what are we doing? Birthday cards. Okay. And it's somebody's birthday. They have a name. And should do the age. Okay, and maybe we'll also do like tagline, like a funny. We just call it a funny. Okay, so wait. Oh, I made the age a string. I meant to make it an integer. Okay. All right, minimum age 0. I have a request to see the sessions table. Can you see the sessions table? Wait, I'm getting distracted by Richard's question. No, let me finish. Yes, you can use the SQL query provider. So install the Richard, I'm talking to you. Use the SQL query provider. Select star from sessions. Oh, sorry, sc_sessions. Sorry, I shouldn't get distracted. I'm just gonna look up what this is. No, maybe it's not called SC sessions. Maybe it's just called sessions. Yeah, I guess it's just called sessions. So just try something like just gonna write it here. I have a feeling that maybe sessions is not the right. Okay, let me just. Trying to figure out which session. Select star from. SC session. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, so all right, let's get back to this birthday card business. Okay, so we now got to do some basic views. Let's create some basic views. Okay, now I can just add a birthday card. All right, let's say somebody's 25. I'm gonna say something funny. Only a quarter? No, wait. Let's try and be funnier. This vending machine does not accept quarters. Okay, and who's turning 25? Let's say Harry. Okay, and we're going to do an exclamation mark because that makes it funnier. Okay. Right. All right. So now, you can edit, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now I've got to design a birthday card. Why did I accept to do this? Okay. Right. Oh, let's make this. We'll keep this admin. Okay, so now let's delete this. Okay, I'm gonna make a really ugly birthday card. Okay, so we're gonna do a card. We're gonna do birthday cards. And we put a container that will allow us to make everything roughly in the middle. box for the container. We'll make it. So you can do some cool stuff here. You can set this to centimeters as well. And that means that if you're targeting it to print out, that means it's, you know, it's the printer size. And it works actually. I've seen some really good stuff here. And this one, I guess we have to make as well. So let's make this, what does it say, 17? Let's make this 15. Sorry, Americans, you don't get inches. I don't think CSS, maybe CSS does do inches. You get American jokes, but European dimensions. Okay. Happy birthday. All right. I somehow think that if we do this, let's try and get fancy. We'll make it flex, and we'll make it. How do you do this? Column. Yay! There we go. Okay, this is gonna be H1, and oh, sorry. Wait, I wanted the name here. Okay, and then we just better have the funny. And what was the other field I had? And we're just gonna do. Oh, I know how we'll do it. We'll do. Okay, so now I'm in pain because I've got to do. So let's do a divide. Okay. So we'll do one text here. We got to do it inside a container because otherwise it's flex. So now we've got to break it. We've got to go the other direction. Happy. And if you put spaces here, it sort of magically works. Okay. Happy 25th birthday, Harry. This vending machine does not accept quarters. Great. I'd be so happy if I received that on my 25th birthday. Okay, so now let's see. So we've got this. This is the big moment. Let's try to add an action. Oops, sorry. Got to add a column first. What's it called? Print? No, page to PDF? Page to PDF. Okay, so we got, and let's put that before print. And we don't need to show. Okay, so we'll call this print. And okay, now, okay, so now you got to fill this in view and the birthday card. You got to get A4 as well. Sorry, Americans. And now you get all this stuff about margins. I made it 18 high. Well, let's see what it looks like. Header. I don't think we want a header, but you can also set headers here. This can be like a little, and I think there's even some way you can put dynamic information inside the header. I can't remember how to do that. And page numbers as well. You may want that. Oh, and you can even do custom format for the page numbers. It's quite, you know, we've done some cool reports for this. Okay, so let's see if this works. What happens now? Hey, look at that. It opens a PDF which has a card and it says, "Happy 25th birthday, Harry." This vending machine does not accept quarters. All right, it works. I'm surprised. So the reports I'm hearing is that it doesn't always work. So wait, let's try this. So first of all, I should really make this spinner the default. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to try it 3 times. Let me see if it works every time. Okay, it works every time. It seems to work every time. Okay, all right, it works every time. That's good. So I think it's mainly if you're on a resource constrained machine that it you know, or if you're say ratio to users and the machine resources doesn't quite stack up, then if people are trying to run multiple reports and you don't have the memory. I think, you know, running Chrome, it runs Chrome. So basically when you press this button, it launches a Chrome instance. And that just does take up at least 1 gigabyte. So, you know, you have to have that in your virtual machine. Just be prepared for that. Yeah, Greg says A4 versus letter is a significant difference. Yes, that is so annoying. You know, we feel it as well here. Let's go back but so, you know, letter is a possibility. Letter, there you go. So you can have legal. The other thing you can do, you can have PNG. So now it creates a PNG instead. There you go. That's a PNG file, I guess. And what are the other options? Got JPEG, WebP. You guys probably can't see my pop-ups, but you got. Oh, you can't even see all the screen. Let's cut that off. Hang on, let me just move this. Okay. Oh yeah, you can see my options. So A4, letter, legal, blah blah blah. PNG, JPEG. Okay, let's see. There's been a lot of comments here. I'm just gonna ignore all of the unserious comments. And okay, Chrome instance doesn't work on my Ubuntu VPS. Yes, I know that. That's why I switched to Debian. Ubuntu's Chrome or Chromium is not good, to put it politely. Because they do it with Snap and it always breaks and it's annoying, and that's why it works if you do Debian. Okay, Go Influentius. This print generator can be done in the background to send by email or whatever. Yes, this was actually, I remember this was a, somebody asked this on a previous office hours, and I said, yes, and then I tried to do it, and it didn't work. But then I went ahead and fixed it. So if you want to do it in the background, do it in a workflow. So that's kind of what they're for. So wasn't it Hot Rock? I'm sure it was Hot Rock who's with us still. Yes, it was. So here was the workflow. So this did a lot of stuff. This was what Hot Rock was asking for. This is what you're asking for, but this was more complicated, what Hot Rock was asking for. And where it loops over the rows in the table and then it generates PDFs. And when I tried to do it, it didn't work because the page to PDF step was not sort of workflow primed. But I did fix that. So now you can run this. So basically what you get is you set the file name here. And then you just have to create an email. Look, creating an email in Saltcorn is another chapter. I really should do a tutorial. I want to get back and do more tutorial videos. I probably say this in every office hour that I want to do more tutorial videos, but just because I have to say it every time. I want to do more tutorial videos. And I think email sending is actually a really good topic. It has gotten easier, but it is still a little bit of work to send an email. But here, you got a workflow, it generates a PDF, and then as the next step, you can send an email. I think the email is now... Let's see what happens if I do this. I can't remember what... If I have like send email. So yeah, that's all. But that does not support. So emails in workflows do not support attachments. That's annoying. So what you do instead is you create what you had to do before. You create a table, which is a queue of outbound emails. You set send email up as an insert trigger on that table, and then I'm not going to do this now because it's getting late. Okay, so here's the strategy. Create a table, send email as an insert trigger on that. That table has a field name, and then in the send email trigger, you can choose that field as the attachment field. And that will send. And then when you insert into that table, you write that, whatever we had before, that file name. You have to write that, right? Bam, you write that. That is you write that as the field, attachment field, and that's how you do it. All right, great. We're in the age of Instagram, not email, sadly. Yeah, we should do like plugins for all of that. I wanted to do like plugins for social media. I just didn't really have time. Maybe. Okay, have a good weekend. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for all the great questions. I probably left some up. I left up this one with coming on Discord about using fields in select by code. I don't know if it's possible. Probably not. I can have a look at it. It's very closely related to Mike Walsh's. Mike Walsh's previous question, which was actually, it may not seem related, but it's related to how can you use in search or create, I think it's called, this field view, how can you use the field variables? So I definitely need a bit more support for that. Great. Have a good weekend, everyone.